Assalamu alaikum. Peaceful greetings to everyone. I am Dena. I'm so excited to be here. I have several things that I want to discuss with you, but I'm going to really focus on one thing. The one thing, right? So before I get started with my one thing, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a wife, a mother, a grandmother, a best-selling author of a book entitled Change, Balance, and Flow, which helped me through a very difficult time in my life when I was going through retirement. And I wrote the book in reference to my retirement, but what I realized is it was a book about transition, change. And I really had to change who I was in order to get to where I am right now, the woman that you see in front of you. And there were four things that I mentioned in my book that you can learn about. But the one thing that I want to focus on today is mindset. Mindset helped me through everything that I went through over the last 4 years. I realized that I was in a different place that I had never been in. I always had people around me. I always had somebody in my corner. I always had somebody watching out for me. But at this time, I was alone. I was truly alone. And I began to have to rely on myself for the first time. I had never trusted myself up until really about 4 or 5 years ago. I didn't have to. I had other people that I could trust in. I found one day I woke up and I was in this dark place. I remember it literally seemed dark. I did not want to get up out of bed. I laid in bed and I cried. No one was around. My husband was called to be by the side of a very, very, very sick relative, his brother, right? He was called to be there. And I was alone. My children were married, having children. They were out, and here I was. So when I talk about change, balance, and flow, I had to actually live that because I did not want to get up out of bed. I did not want to be around people. I ached. My body ached. My head hurt. It was just a totally different, I didn't know who I was. So in order to do that, I had to change. And that's when I talk about mindset, right? Change, balance, and flow. That's when I talk about those things. So I really had to, and I realized that what was with me in that moment of emotional imbalance, I call it, didn't serve me. So I had to really examine who I was, and I had to begin to get rid of some things. I had to begin to peel back some layers that didn't serve me. And I found that that is something that a lot of women have problems with when they get there. They get right there, right? But because they have to deal with things that they don't want to deal with, they have to show up differently. It's a challenge. And it is a challenge because change is not easy. But the easy part of change is making a decision. Once you make a decision, what do they say? The universe conspires to give you what you want. And then everything else falls into place. That's it. Thanking my coach, Lori Pelzer, for giving me the information, right? And second, I want to thank the Canadian Small Business Women's Virtual Conference. Thank you so very much for giving me this platform.